A lot of consumer companies, obviously B2C, business to consumer is impacted, but business to business, we have to see what the impact is, and we are joined by one person who would know this well. Ravi Uppal, the Managing Director and CEO of JSPL, has joined us now. Good morning, Mr. Uppal. Well, I guess in your case, the big vulnerable segment could be your long products. Can you tell us the impact of demonetization on your business in general and long steel products in particular?
Oh yeah, well, your demonetization certainly has an impact on the performance of the sector like steel. There's a good part of this market is operated by the cash transaction. That segment obviously is affected, and more so for the secondary producers are more affected. And I think the transporters, are very much affected because they operate on the basis of cash, and the cash is suddenly disappearing from market is obviously going to dent the movement of the goods. And apart from that, also the secondary segment, along with which is working very closely with the construction segment, I think both of them are going to be very much affected.
Mr. Uppal, good morning. In fact, that is the feedback we got from the Bombay Transport Association yesterday as well, that there's a severe problem in the industry. But from your end, what exactly is the transport problems that you guys are facing in, places like Odisha, Chhattisgarh, etc.?
Well, regardless of location, transporters are affected all across. The one part of segment, the transportation segment which may not be affected that much is the rail segment. But that is only for the bulk movement from point to point. But the actual distribution is done by truckers, which is door-to-door delivery. And that segment is obviously very vulnerable.
Okay, Mr. Uppal, good morning. Let's talk about the overall business. Then, of course, we have seen iron ore prices go up a lot, over the last few days. How are things looking for you in terms of your margins, in terms of your volumes? If you could give any numbers on that.
Well, let me say that, the steel segment is in a very volatile state right now. That we were thinking that post-monsoon, the busy season starts and the demand starts to look up, and it actually was. If you look at the first 6 months of the year, the total crude production had gone up by 8%. And, the primary producer in particular produced about 12% more than the last year. Secondary producer did not grow that much. They grew just by about 1.5%. So the things seem to be on the right course, but then we had two factors which came to bear upon this. One of them is the price of coal, the coking coal in particular, which has increased from $85 FOB Australia to nearly $310 in the space of less than 3.5 months. That is not increased by percentage, it has increased by folds, 3.5 times. So this obviously, has a huge impact on the cost structure of the steel producers, and there's no way that they can absorb this change, because every ton of steel that you produce, it uses about 0.6 tons of coking coal. So this means their cost has gone up by nearly 5,000 to 6,000 rupees. This is something which is not even available locally. It is something you simply import either from Australia or South Africa. So I think that has had an impact on the cost structure of steel producers. And then we have the second thing which came to bear upon it is the demonetization. So demonetization is affecting the demand side. So I think these two are new factors which the steel industry has to come to terms with. Okay. It's going to take them some time. One factor is affecting the demand side, and the second one is affecting the cost.
Yeah, Mr. Uppal, therefore, could you take any price hikes at all given the situation, or will there be a big cut in margins? If yes, how much?
Well, there's no way that the steel producers can absorb this cost. So this obviously had to be passed on to the consumers. That it is being passed on to them progressively. The reason being that if we are carrying any stock of coking coal, so therefore we were passing on the cost to them stage by stage. As we sort of get supplies from the new contracts, we obviously have no choice but to pass it on to them.
How much, sir?
I'm speaking for the industry as a whole. I'm not talking about a singular company.
But what would the quantum be?
Price hikes.
Well, quantum could be, if you take the full hit it could be in the range of 5,000 rupees plus.
Okay.
When the new contract, when the supplies under new contracts come, they have no choice. They simply have to pass it on to consumer. The only other choice is they stop producing. So I think that's no solution.
Have you got access to the Sharda iron ore mines?
Yeah, well, that is still, sub judice, and we had got the judgment, but the final solution is still on the way.
Okay, wanted to just get an update on the debt situation because, things have gotten worse over the last 1 month, as you yourself pointed out. You're still sitting on debt of more than 40,000 crores. Where can we expect the debt to be by the end of FY17 and FY18?
Well, it is going to depend on several factors, how we perform, our ability to repay. But I just want to tell you that steel industry on the whole has been stressed. We are looking at various ways to see how we can reduce it. The first thing that we did not let it increase. And we are also, trying to look at various ways, and we have been successful with some of them, raising the liquidity in the system so that we are able to service the debt. Our first priority is to make sure the existing debt that we have, both in terms of interest and repayment, we honor our commitments. And that's the first focus. And having done that, then the second is to make sure that as our internal earnings improve, that we use a part of that along with, any divestment that we do, whatever cash we realize, both of them will be used to service the debt. So this is how the priorities are set.
Okay. Any improvement in the PPA's position? Anybody asking for a PPA?
Well, unfortunately, there has been no development of the PPA, although, some tenders came where the results were out, where people are very well placed. I think this is a very important need of the power industry that more and more PPA should be signed so that the demand, with the suppliers can improve. The PLF of the industry still remains slow, and until the demand looks up, I think the power industry will continue to face challenge, a daunting challenge.
Thank you very much, Mr. Uppal, for joining us and detailing on several points. It's a situation where even the governments don't know how much money they're going to get after GST and now post demonetization. So any fresh investments will take time.